Alright Netherrealm, now you've gone too far. You're playing with my emotions here and I can't handle it. Is this a troll? Is it real? Is it some weird concoction? It's a mix of both? Well, let's talk about it. So this info was leaked a little bit earlier, but I was busy making guides for Terminator, so I couldn't cover it until now. And by the way, I do highly recommend checking out those videos, especially this one on screen, which outlines why Terminator is so darn strong and quite possibly the best DLC character so far. Definitely worth a look, but now onto the leaks. So basically, to keep things short, if you play as Terminator and win the round with a certain outro equipped, then you see a lot of info scroll by on screen. Now some of this info is a reference to the films and things of that nature, however the developers also took the chance to poke a little bit of fun at the data miners for their own game. For example, if you wait long enough, you actually see the roster start to scroll down, including Kombat Pack 1. So as you can see right here, we have Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Terminator, Sindel, Joker, and Spawn, all of which are the characters that we know are confirmed so far. And in fact, even the way it's written is very similar to how the info looked when it was data mined a while ago. So once again, the developers having a little bit of fun in referencing those data miners who leaked this info early. However, if you wait just a little bit longer, then you get something that is just too good to be true. Probably. So right here we have Kombat Pack 2, and yes, it is a troll. Could there be some validity to this? Maybe, and that would be some really awesome 4D underwater chess, wouldn't it? You think it's a troll, but maybe a handful of these characters actually do make it into Kombat Pack 3 or Kombat Pack 2. I'm pretty sure some characters have already been leaked for Kombat Pack 2, like Shiva for example. Just to be clear, I would love to play Shiva. Female grapplers are very, very rare. I understand that maybe not most players want her in the game, but I would certainly love to play me some Shiva, so just throwing that out there, Netherrealm. If you are thinking about including her, I would certainly love to play a female grappler, even if she is a little bit ugly with the 3 fingers and 3 toes and such. But at this point, who knows? That could also be a troll as well from Netherrealm, because we thought Ash was going to be in Kombat Pack 1, and it seems like he was replaced with Joker. That could have been intentional, they were planning it all along, or it could have been a last minute switch. We have no real way of knowing. But for now, let's just go down this list real quick because I want to talk about these characters. So first up, Rain. I'm going to save Mileena for last because she is very near and dear to my heart. So let's start off with Rain. I feel like for Rain to be an MK11 would be awesome because they're really good at those blood physics. If you look at Scarlet, I feel like that character was put in the game just to show off how good their new fluid system is. The blood attacks look really awesome, the blood fatalities look really good. They're just showing off with that character. They are flexing their technological prowess with that character. And I feel like Rain is also a great opportunity to show that stuff off. Show how good your water effects are with a character who manipulates water. That would be sick. And not to mention, Nightwolf actually doesn't have as many of his moves, so typically in the past, Nightwolf and Rain did share some similar moves, specifically when he calls down the lightning. He doesn't have that move, at least not in the same regard, so Rain could still fit in the game. Now I know Shang Tsung does have one of his moves, but it's just one move, and it's the goofiest one, right? It's the super kick, or as I call it, the Pac-Man kick, because you go off screen right, come in screen left. I find that really hilarious. So I do think Rain would fit in pretty comfortably in Mortal Kombat 11, and he did miss out in MKX, so bringing him back would be a bit fair. However, at the same time, I would love it if they spiced up his moveset, because it's not the most exciting thing, especially when you take into account that he's a waterbender. He could do some really cool stuff, so I want to see some extra over-the-top moves if he does make it to Mortal Kombat 11. And next up, we have Mei and Sareena. I'm not sure how to feel about these characters because outside of their appearances, not very much to go on. They both have some interesting lore, especially Sareena, but at the end of the day, Sareena is kind of just a female character who throws knives, and Mei is just straight up female Liu Kang. Like, just essentially that's what she is, because Liu Kang died and they still wanted the crazy martial arts character, so that's what Mei was for. So even though I would love to personally see both these characters in MK11, they need a drastic move overhaul, because otherwise they're going to be a little bit stale. Because if you don't do that, they're going to be a little bit redundant, because we already have the crazy martial arts characters, and we already have characters who throw knives and weapons of that nature like Kano. So Mei and Sareena could fit, but they need a very big overhaul to make them a bit more unique in the roster. And let's just get one thing straight, Netherrealm. It is your fault that people keep requesting Mei and Sareena, okay? It was your idea to include them in MKX but not make them playable, and now everybody is thirsty, okay? They are hungry to play these characters, and it's your fault. It's your fault they're in such high demand, so how dare you tease players for constantly requesting them? It's your fault they want them so badly. Now, do I personally think they'll make it in? No, not really, not unless Kombat Pack 3 happens, and even then it's a bit of a stretch. And then of course we have Mei and Mokap, who are obviously joke characters meant to completely debunk this entire thing. It's obviously not a leak, it is trolling from the developers. However, with that said, even though Mokap is quite silly, I think Mei, if redesigned correctly, could be really cool. He's either a very creepy and menacing character because he's a skeleton with dangly meat bits, or you go the opposite direction and he's a joke character. And if that's the case, you can give him really goofy moves and make him stand out a lot, and he'd be very interesting, very weird to fight against, very unorthodox. He could be a very interesting character to add to the game, but at the same time I don't think very many fans want him, so not the best decision financially. And of course the same could also be said for Mokap, but he's obviously a troll and not going to actually be in the game. Because if he was, instead of a different beloved MK character, there would be rioting in the streets. Now of course I do apologize if you're a big Mokap fan. I understand it's got to be very rough out there. Been a long time since your boy was in a Mortal Kombat game, especially a competitively viable one. But at the same time, you have to understand that a majority of players do not want him over anybody else. Pretty much any other MK characters, even characters like Chameleon, are in a much higher demand than Mokap. So I understand some players might want him and that you might be watching this video. But just know that character has a very, very small chance of being in the game simply because most people would take anybody else. And then last but not least, we have my beloved Mileena. Okay, I'm only gonna say this once, NetherRealm. I understand you're very tired of people constantly begging for this character and also demanding this character in some regards on every single tweet or post you make online. I understand it's a bit frustrating and it's gotten old very, very quickly. But at the same time, I do think it would be financially irresponsible to not include this character at some point down the line. I mean, do you hate money? Do you hate money? Because that's the only reason not to put this character in the game. She would sell like hotcakes, especially at this point in time. And yes, I do understand the katana does have a couple of her moves, but that build just kinda sucks. I played it for a while and it's kinda fun, but only if the opponent doesn't know what to do. Everything you go for is interruptible, the combos suck, the frame advantage sucks most of the time, she's very slow, it's just not a good build, so please bring back the character who we know can do it better. Just the other day during my lunch break at work, I thought of a really cool way to do her fatal blow, and I want to do some storyboards for it, so if I have time in the future, I would love to share that with you all. So in summary, even though I do know this is trolling, I do think some of these characters would sell like hotcakes and be a very good decision financially to actually include in the game later down the line. I understand they won't be in Kombat Pack 1 or even Kombat Pack 2, but if you think Kombat Pack 3 will not sell, you're just crazy. People would love it if they had some of these characters in it. And just in case you're still on the fence and you don't know if it's a troll or not, later on they mention a bunch of stuff that just could not fit in the game technical wise, or would just cost way too much to include financially. You have Babalities, you have friendships, you have Animalities, all this crazy stuff that would just be almost impossible to incorporate at this point. Because keep in mind, if they were to add Animality, they have to add it for every single character, and that would just be way too expensive, especially if players don't buy the combat packs. It's a negative investment with a net loss, and they're just not going to overextend in that regard. So even if you don't think it's a stretch to include Mokap and Mei for Kombat Pack 2, please understand that everything else they include afterwards is not going to happen in the future. And of course, once again, the developers included that part on purpose just so you know 100% that it's a troll and it's all in good fun. They're not trying to lead you on, they want you to know right away it's a joke. And while they do get you excited at first and raise your hopes very, very high, they also let you down a bit easy in just a couple of seconds by letting you know, look, it's a joke, we're just having fun, we're poking fun at data miners and also making fun of how awesome these characters are. And I do think it's a pretty cute joke, though at the same time, I used to think that maybe they were just ignorant to how much we wanted these characters. Maybe they were so busy working on the game they didn't know who we actually wanted. And now that I understand that they know who we actually want and they're still not going to be in the game, that just kind of blows my mind a little bit. You understand that we want these characters more than anybody else and that we would pay top dollar for them, but you're still not going to put them in the game? That just kind of boggles my mind a little bit, which is why I do suspect some of these characters could be in Kombat Pack 3, but certainly not all of these characters and not in this order. I mean, let's be real, NetherRealm's got to shove some DLC guest characters in there too, just to spice things up a little bit. But please let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and then while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.